Alright, so I assume that you guys are back from seeing Avengers Endgame. And if you're not, then what the fuck is your problem? What are you doing? I mean, the link to my spoiler free video where I just shared my initial thoughts on this movie is in the description. Go click on that link and then go to the movie theater. I'm telling you, go to the movie theater and go see it. And then jump back to this video and then we will talk spoilers. I mean, if you already decided you want to see the movie, there is no business. You have no business being here before you saw the movie. It's just that simple. So that is your warning. So now is the time to leave. Excuse me. So before I jump into everything that I loved about this movie, I'm gonna jump right into my biggest issue with the movie is with what they've done with Thor. I mean, like, when they changed his physique, like when they did that time jump where we see what's going on with the Avengers like 5 years later, and then we get to Thor, and then he's all has a beer gut, and then he has dreads, and his hair's long again. And he has like a hobo like beard. He's like hobo Thor or whatever. I get it. I get why he's depressed and all that, and it was funny when you first see him, like when we first see him at that one scene where you're like, oh wow, like what did he do to himself? And it just kept in that way through the entire movie after that scene. I'm like, what the fuck? I would not have done that. I wouldn't let it drag on through the entire movie. I mean, it felt like such a letdown because they did such a fantastic arc with him in Infinity War, and then we get this, and it's just like, what in the actual fuck? But now that that's out of the way, now I'm going to talk about a lot of moments that I did enjoy. I have to say, I enjoyed when, like when they had to go in separate missions to get the Infinity Stones. I mean, like, even though some of those scenes tend to drag a little bit, where I'm like, can we just get to, like the more fun parts, like those were entertaining, but I was just like, it's kind of dragging just a little bit. But I have to, say, like, I love the fan service that, this movie had, like where you saw a lot of cameos, like with the Ancient One and with Jane Foster. I'm surprised we saw her. I thought they were just gonna have a stunt double, like like in the back or whatever, but wow, like it was still a pretty damn good cameo. And then we saw many other cameos, like almost everyone that was introduced into the MCU prior to this movie does make a brief return, like in this finale. So I love how they were able to get just to pull that off. And I gotta jump right to the third act. The third act, man, that was the best third act in any movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, ever. Like, like, after I got back from the movie to see it, I jumped onto links on YouTube videos to just look at those videos, like someone recording those, like that third act, so I can enjoy it as much as I can before Marvel/Disney takes them down, because like, come on, don't ruin it for everybody. But it was so satisfying, like where like despite how I feel about Thor in this movie, I loved how he's able to use Stormbreaker and Mjolnir in the third act, and that's really awesome. And speaking of Mjolnir, guess who else gets to use Mjolnir? My boy Captain America. I'm like, oh. Like when it got to the moment where you see Mjolnir lifted off the ground, and you're led to believe that was Thor, like trying to will Mjolnir back to him. But I'm thinking, no, I don't know. Does this mean what I think it means? Is Cap? Are they do? Oh, and then you saw the hammer. You saw Mjolnir go over the Cap, and it's like, whoa, what an awesome moment. He held his own really well when he did that against Thanos. It was so awesome. Like, I kept rewinding back to that scene over and over and over when I got to, like, when I looked for it on YouTube. It was just that damn good. And then, not to mention, when it felt like he was a goner, he was breaking his shield, Thanos was breaking his shield, and then he was getting his ass handed to him until all of the fallen heroes have returned, and they are armed to the teeth. Like we have Thanos and his entire army, and then we have all of our heroes that have been introduced, like in the 21 movies. They're all back. Those who we have lost in Infinity War, they're all back here, and it's awesome. And then we finally hear Captain America say, "Avengers, assemble," and that is freaking awesome. And then they kept making us guess who was going to defeat Thanos, because everyone kept grabbing the gauntlet and was like, "Oh, let me get it here, give 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 it here." So it's pretty damn awesome. And then everyone was cheering. There was almost throughout that entire third act, people were cheering. I was cheering. I was geeking out. I'm like, what? It is insane, insane. And like, and I have to say, the humor in those missions in Act 2 where they have to get the Infinity Stones into the present day, they go back in the past and they try to bring them over into the present day. They're all funny as hell. It's just that simple. The humor kept those scenes interesting for me. But oh my goodness, and then Black Widow gets killed off. I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. It's crazy. Her and Hawkeye were basically willing to sacrifice themselves to get that Soul Stone, but they wouldn't let each other make that sacrifice. And then when it got to where Hawkeye had no choice but to let her go, otherwise they would both fall in there. And man, what a scene! I'm like, why? And as far as with the first act, where we see how people are doing after the Thanos snap in Infinity War, I feel like Hawkeye was the more interesting part of that, in that story, in that part of this movie. I'm like, yeah, I just, you saw what, you saw his family, saw that his family was a part of that, half of that population that was wiped out, in the beginning of the movie. And then you see how it's affecting him and how it has done to him for the past 5 years. Man, there's a lot that happened in this movie. Not to mention, with things that they edit, that they have heavily edited in the trailers, and then you see in the actual movie, wow, they really did edit that out. They edited this really good. For example, when we see Tony Stark in space, and for over 20 days that he's been in space, and he's starving and he's skinny, he is you start to see his bones, and wow. They did a good job editing that, together, for the trailers, and then when you see the movie, and it all unfolds differently. And man, I just cannot get over and with Hulk, with Bruce Banner, it's basically Bruce Banner in Hulk's body. I had a feeling they were going to go in that direction. I felt like they were trying to go there, where we get an intelligent Hulk. But not so much intelligent Hulk, but more so Bruce Banner in Hulk's body. That's simply what it is. And I thought it was going to be a moment where Hulk would take over and just whoop ass. But we just get Bruce Banner in Hulk's body. And I find that more interesting than what they did with Thor in his appearance. Ugh. But I will say that man, this movie had me so bipolar, it is not even funny. It is not even funny. And when it got to where it is Iron Man who defeats Thanos in the third act, what a powerful moment. His last words, what better last words? He says, "I am Iron Man." And then, he was willing to make that sacrifice. He went out like a badass that he is. I didn't think they would have the balls to do that. And as I'm trying to recover and process it, we had his funeral, everyone is there and stuff like that. And then we get to where Captain America is returning all the Infinity Stones back to their rightful places for where they got them from. And they're like, okay, where did he go? What happened? And then Falcon and Bucky, they see him over there, and it's him, and he's when he's much older, and in the age that he would basically be in at this, in the present time, where he went back to before. I guess he had to make that sacrifice where he had to be frozen into the ice and whatever, and yeah, so he went back and he gave himself a second chance with Peggy Carter, which was the ending that he basically deserved. And he had that dance at the end. Like, it is just amazing. I mean, I kind of almost kind of predicted. Well, I didn't, um, I mean, like there was a little prediction that I was following with where it would end like that, where they have that dance, but it's not in the afterlife. It's in at that time where he went to, where him and Peggy are living a happy life together. And I'm glad that they did not have a mid or end credit scene at the end of the movie. I mean, don't ruin that for people. I mean, like, don't just you do not ruin that. You just don't do that. I mean, let us feel that closure. Let's feel like a chapter has ended. Don't ruin it by saying, "Ooh, something else is coming. Ooh, watch out for this next movie." Like, no, don't do that. And I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, they took a bold risk, and I applaud them for doing that. I applaud them for doing that. I mean, they went in there and they took a few chances, and they went the extra mile with everything that they know that us fans would potentially want in this movie. And I'd say for the most part, they served us that really well. They certainly did. I don't know about you. I really did. That third act made it all worth it. I mean, like, like the first two acts of the movie, it all built, just to get to that. I feel like I got to the finish line and I was the victor. I mean, that's how rewarding it felt when the movie ended for me. And apparently this movie does not end phase 3, which is kind of stupid, in my opinion. I feel like this movie ended phase 3 for me. I mean, I don't care that they have one more movie before it actually ends, but this movie ended phase 3 for me. I mean, I don't care. That's just how I feel. But I cannot think of anything else to say. I mean, it's just freaking amazing. I want to watch those clips that are online. I left the windows up so I don't have to jump back to it and say, "Oh, Disney took it down," or whatever. But it needs to be taken down. But I want to enjoy those scenes a bit more before it happens. So that's how much I enjoyed this freaking movie. I mean, I cannot wait to see it again. I mean, it was all worth it. I mean, the only thing I really did not like is Thor's appearance. I mean, they could have built his physique back when it got to the third act, when it got down to where they had to fight Thanos again. After Thanos blew up the whole Avengers headquarters, I'm like, what? Whoa, man. It was, what a movie. What a movie. Oh my gosh. There's gonna be, I don't think there's ever gonna be a third act as epic as that third act. I mean, not one movie that I've seen so far has had a third act that epic. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. And I think it's gonna be a while before any movie can touch that. I mean, didn't mean to do the snap there, but it's gonna be a while. That's just how I feel. Like, oh my gosh. Man. So I'm guessing that with Black Widow's movie, I'm guessing that's going to be a flashback where we see an origin story rather than her in the present day. And when people were wondering why can't she be the one who leads the team from there on? Well, now you see why. And what they did with Captain Marvel in this movie, what they gave her very little to do, but what she did do, she did really well. I think she did magnificent, and she I feel like she's given a lot of haters of Captain Marvel some hope that she'll, have something really awesome to offer in uh, a sequel if they decide to do a sequel to Captain Marvel. I don't know if they're doing one yet or not, but if they are, then yeah, I mean that gives them something to look forward to. I didn't hate Captain Marvel, but I just thought it was just a simple, fun movie. That was all it was for me, and she was pretty damn awesome in this movie, especially when they had all the female heroes like of the MCU standing together, where it was just them. I'm like, okay, yeah, I like it. I mean, I like it. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, they're there, so I thought it was freaking awesome. And my attitude is known to change at times after the first experience, but I don't see very much changing here. I don't even know if I'm torn between this and Infinity Wars, so I'm probably never going to answer that. I'll probably bounce back and forth, but with that third act of this movie, I may stick more towards this movie. Oh my goodness. Woo! But yeah, that's my spoiler talk for Avengers Endgame. So if you enjoyed the movie, what were your favorite moments in the movie? Feel free to tell me in the comment section. And if you guys enjoyed my spoiler video on this movie, make sure you thumb up this video and make sure you click subscribe if you're new to the channel. And make sure you click that notification bell so you can be updated on my latest videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out, y'all.